Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Jodi Hawes. I'm one of the general neurologists, and I serve as an executive coach for our faculty and learners. And I'm going to talk about giving and receiving feedback, which is a topic that comes up frequently in coaching. Faculty leaders are often coming with questions around how do I best give feedback in a way that people can hear it and that I can leave that encounter with a relationship perhaps that's even stronger. So I'm going to start with some general tips about both receiving and giving feedback. One, and if there's one thing you take away from this today, I think this is the most important thing. And that is, as I receive feedback, I want to switch to a growth mindset. So what I'm thinking about is how can I take this feedback and get better? And that may lead me to ask questions like, what are you noticing? When someone does that really well, what does it look like? What do they do? What kind of behaviors do you notice? So really kind of a growth mindset and a stance of curiosity. What is also important as we receive feedback or even give feedback is noticing the story that we tell ourselves. It may be something like, oh, here we go again, feedback. Oh no, or I'm not good at that. I'm never going to be good at that. So just notice it, not to judge it, but just to notice what comes up. There may be an opportunity later to explore that story and say, is that really even true? And what might be a more realistic story? Notice your reactions that come up as you hear the word feedback and as you're getting ready to hear that. Again, it's not to judge it, but just to notice it. It's extra data. And it may be an opportunity to extend empathy to yourself and the person delivering the feedback. You can think about feedback as an intersection of two realities. It's how that person is perceiving me and how I perceive myself. And what's critically important is that we thank the person for the feedback, because it's quite possible it may be life-changing. So I love this quote. This talks about the growth mindset. And this is a quote some of you may know by Michael Jordan. He said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and I missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. And I think that is so powerful because it really talks about this idea that if I'm going to evolve and grow, I'm going to stub my toe and I'm going to do it in a way that's not maybe as good as it could be. And it's that kind of feedback and that openness to failing that allows us to continue to excel. Okay, so when I serve as a coach, feedback also comes up a lot because I serve as a coach in leadership programs, several different leadership programs here at Duke. One is called the Duke Clinical Leadership Program. It's for junior faculty that want to move up into clinical leadership. Another is Leader, which is for junior faculty that want to have a science research career and they're clinicians. And ELAM, which is for senior women that are already associate or full professors. They're academic centers and they want to move into a higher leadership role in the next 5 years. All those programs have a 360, a formal 360 embedded in them. The formal 360s are done by a company that designs them specifically for competencies that are needed for healthcare leaders. So competencies like communication, decision quality, teamwork, these kind of things. So these faculty sit with me and we debrief the 360, meaning we go through the whole 360, all these comments. And the goal of going through all of that is so that at the end of it, they can develop a leadership development plan. Again, the whole point is to grow. So when I sit down with them to go through the 360, these are some things I say to them. And I will say this, even the leaders that are senior leaders, when they get feedback, they're anxious and they're afraid. I've had some come that say they're supposed to look at it first. I've had some come say, I haven't even looked at it. I waited till I could do it with you. So that's normal. I just want to normalize that. So this is what I tell them about the 360. One, it's not a performance evaluation. Rather, it's an assessment how people in the workplace perceive us, right? It's not a definitive picture of us as an individual. It may not be true. It's their truth. It's how they perceive us. It may not be reality, but it is how we are perceived. It does not speak to our intent or our motivation. Everyone, junior faculty all the way up to senior leaders, have strengths and growth opportunities. We all do. Michael Jordan does. So again, the 360, I think another thing that's important is it's a snapshot in time. The feedback that I receive today, especially if I integrate that and I'm able to make some changes, will be different in the future. And it's a snapshot in time provided by the raters that are providing it. What's really important about 360 data is to look for patterns, because the patterns, I think, really get at the truth. And that's probably an area where change can really be transformational if it's a pattern. The most accurate feedback data usually comes from raters that know us well. However, I think there's value even to feedback we get from people that don't know us well. It may shine a light on first impressions and how we are perceived before people know us well. And that can be helpful. And again, the goal, and this is the most important thing, is growth. So just a few challenges about processing both negative and positive feedback. One is, and I think we've already touched on this, is just normalizing that these feelings are going to come up potentially: defensiveness, vulnerability, fear, and anger. And that's normal. That's okay. And again, it's an opportunity to extend empathy to ourselves and others. And this idea, I think, that's really important about feedback is it is essential to good relationship. To be in right relationship, we need to know where we stand. And that's where this feedback is such a gift, because it gives us an opportunity really to grow with that person in relationship. And as the one delivering it, that's the other thing I want to think about. How can they hear this? How can I make it psychologically safe so that they can hear it? And how can I leave with my relationship even better after I give the feedback? Positive feedback has challenges too. I think that a lot of us overlook it. We discount it, but it can be a source of energy and satisfaction, and it can be a strength that we can leverage. So don't overlook strengths. Sit with it for a minute and really hear that. And it might be a good question to say, how do you think I could further leverage that strength? Okay, quickly, I just want to give you a tool that you can use. Maybe you're familiar with it for giving feedback. It's called SBI Forward Method. And I'm going to give an example first of when I received feedback that was frankly transformational. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about this. So I went to a coaching training session at Cleveland Clinic with a couple of physicians that started a coaching program there for their faculty. And within that, I was given the opportunity that we coached with each other, and one of them observed us and gave us feedback. And this physician that observed me gave me feedback that actually shined a light on a blind spot for me. I had no idea. What she shared with me, I had no idea that I was doing that or not doing that. What I can say about that is the feedback that she gave me, it was kind, it was generous, and life-changing. Not only with my coaching, made me a better coach, it made me a better person. So I just want you to realize that feedback is so critical. So this framework here, so situation, you really, when you're giving feedback to someone, you want to explain to them exactly what happened that you noticed, what you observed, so they understand, oh, that's when that happened. In this case, the example I gave, I got feedback in real time because she just sat with me and she gave me that feedback in real time. That's the ideal way to give feedback if you can, because then everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. Behavior. So when she gave me that feedback, she focused on the behavior, not me as a person. She said, Jodi, when you're responding to something they're saying, I'm seeing your facial expression, I'm seeing your posture, but you're not verbalizing anything. Right? So she made it very specific, and she really drilled down to the behaviors. And then she said, Jodi, this is some things you could do, right? These are some behaviors that you could do to further show empathy. Impact. So when we give feedback, we really want to tie it to impact. So the impact it may have on the individual that you're in conversation with, the impact it might have on the team that you're a part of. So really tying it to, why is it critically important? And then a way forward. So if that's the behavior, how can I get better? And that may, if you're in that stance of curiosity, be a question you ask. How do I get better at this? I know you're seeing this, but the students you see that do really well with this, what are they doing? What does it look like? So just hopefully that is helpful, just as a model that you can use to give feedback. And I'm going to just wrap it up by saying, again, the most important thing I think is the growth mindset, and just remembering even that quote from Michael Jordan. Thank you, everyone, for your attention.